Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with the Dreamers. I'm your host, Petronella Mnenja, and as always, I'm so excited to be the one who platforms the stories of these amazing men and women who are doing phenomenal things in their personal lives, in their communities, and in the world at large. And today, our guest comes all the way from the United States of America, the University of Albany, Rockefeller College. Y'all, he is a phenomenal young man. He is the founder and visionary of Unleashed Leaders Network. He serves on so many boards. He does so many phenomenal work, and he believes passionately in youth and leadership. Before I preempt his story, let me welcome him to the platform so that we hear more about the amazing Mr. Christopher. Chris, how are you? And welcome to Conversations with the Dreamers.
Thank you, Faith, for having me. It's an honor. I'm so humbled, and I want also to appreciate your audience. It's really an honor. It's really an honor for me to be here. I think it's one of my first. Even sometimes I'm the one who's doing that, and for me, it's being at the side of the aisle. It's really an honor, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. I think one of my guests said to me that somebody has to interview me because because when you're the one who interviews people, it's better. But then I have a whole book out there that talks about me. So my story has been told enough times. It's time to hear your story. So before we go into the conversation, I know I tried introducing you. I don't think I did justice at all. So tell us, who is Chris? Who are you, Mr. Murunguzha? Who are you?
Thank you so much for that. At times when people ask me that question, I don't know if it's wrong for me that I don't know where to really start. But my name is Christopher Tatenda Murunguzha. So let me tell you one thing. So when I came to the US, so for me to pronounce my name, they will say, okay, what's your name? I would find it difficult to really pronounce it. But every time that they ask me of my name, I say my name is Christopher Tatenda Murunguzha. I speak the whole name. And they said, and then I'll tell them, okay, you can call me Chris, but I want you to really know my name. This is my name. And to really unpack the question that you've really asked about myself. So first of all, Christopher is a believer. I'm a believer in Christ. I'm saved born again. That's one thing that I will always say. I'm saved, and it's going to really help people to really understand where all this energy comes from. For me, that is the point of call. And second thing is, I'm someone who believes in empowering people. I'm someone who believes that you can make a change. You can be at the background and make someone good. I really find it fulfilling when someone will probably say, I mean, I'm their corner, there's some blooms because maybe I contribute something in their lives. So I'm kind of someone who really believes in the idea of empowering, in the idea of imparting and creating space for people so that they can be able to reach the stars. So that on its own really defines what I do in whatever that I've done for, I can't count the years, but for me, it was the highlight that began at an early age. It's going to be something that is going to be interesting. So at a very early age, that you say, no, at that age, you're not supposed to be thinking about those things, but I was not thinking about those things. So basically, Christopher, to really unpack myself, I'm someone who really enjoys empowering. I'm a leader, and maybe I can say born. There's a debate about born leader. People that I'm a born leader, and I also made a leader. So those two things are also very important to me. It was a combination of being born and also being empowered and mentored to become a leader. And one of the things also that maybe people can I can unpick to people is, I'm someone who's really passionate. Whatever that I do, if I say to myself, I'm going to do this, no matter, I don't know, it's kind of an obsession. I go for that, no matter what, I go for that. And I think most of these I'll be able to unpack in the course of this interview. Thank you.
Wow, Chris, thank you so much. I think that gives us a great place to start. You said some people are born leaders and some people are made leaders, and you were both. So I think let's go back to where Chris' story starts. Where does Chris' story start? Where was he born? Where did he grow up? And what was his childhood like?
Thank you, Pete, for that. So Christopher was born in Chinhoyi. I was born in Chinhoyi, in Makonde. It was still called Makonde Hospital by then, not the new Chinhoyi Hospital now in Makonde. And then, so my parents are civil servants. They are all both teachers. So due to the line of their work, they had to transfer to go and work in Urungwe. So the story, I can say the story began in Urungwe. In Urungwe, my dad was working at Mwami Primary School and my mom was working at Mwami Secondary School by then. So Mwami is 30 kilometers away from the town of Karoi. Okay. It's a rural setup. Some know it is Kasangarare. You know the Kasangarare, that area. So that's where they were working. So a huge part of my life was when I was there in Mwami, in Kasangare. But one thing that I am so grateful of is the growing up in such a place made me to appreciate some certain things. Because yes, I was when I was teacher, I was teacher's child. You are there. You are there's that kind of teacher's child. There's kind of a cool name to it. But it got me to really get to see some people that were coming from backgrounds. In that point, it was like I'm coming from the privileged because my parents are teachers by that time. But growing up, seeing people that were coming from different backgrounds than where I was coming from, really, I think really shaped a lot of things in how I perceive where I was coming from. And I went to school. My parents made sure that I did not go to school there. I to be sent to Chinhoyi, back to Chinhoyi for me to go and go to school. So I would come back during the holidays, come back to Mwami in Karoi, and then during the school days, I'm back in Chinhoyi. And I was at Loma Gandhi Primary School. That's where I did my first 3 years of my primary school at Loma Gandhi Primary School. It was an elite school with white people, So when you are there, when I come back, okay, it was kind of a different exposure, different spectrums that I was going to. And then, but now, when I was now in grade 4, my parents decided for me to go to boarding school in Karoi. So in Karoi, there is a boarding school called Karoi Junior School. It's a boarding school which is in Karoi. So they decided for me to go back to be at grade 4. So I I was staying away from them when I was in Chinhoyi, and now I was not being sent to a boarding school now. Grade 4. So in my 4th grade, now I think that's when you are at a boarding school. Now it's different. But at boarding school now, you are now living with other people that are coming from different, also another set of different backgrounds now. And I think it is at that time that it really shaped a lot of things in terms of the question that you've asked, born leadership and made leadership. Because when I was growing up in Mwami, I grew up in a teacher's home. They are leaders, they say, as you're watching them. And I really learned that. I really accredit my father for that, because I would observe from that, and I would see there's some that was inside of what you're just wanting to initiate. Both leadership is all about initiating. But before, what is this? What I just thought right now, what is this is, when I was still in my 3rd grade, I don't know if they're still doing it now in Zimbabwe, whereby there was a time whereby people would put in group 1, group 2, group 3, group all those things, according to your academic capabilities. So there was this time whereby we could be grouped to, like, there was a session where there would be music lesson, because I'm someone who's passionate about music. So our group would always win. Because they knew that when it comes to initiating, Chris would initiate a song and we'll sing. And if I would say, if I would recall, that was always my victory moment at school. Music lesson. My victory. In math, I was bad in math. I was bad, but in music, the moment we would say music, then that was going to be something that I know this one I'm going to excel. So that was me initiating. I wanted to discover what's me initiating. And at one time, I didn't have friends. So what I did, in third grade in Zimbabwe, they would usually had what we call the Sunrise book reader. The Sunrise book readers that were used to infants school children to read so that they can learn how to read English, all those things. So what I did, there was a page in that sunrise of the story of Jonah. I remember. So what I would do is, because I didn't have friends, but I wanted to initiate people coming around, create friendship, but I didn't have friends. And I thought maybe I was uncool because I was coming from one, So what happened is I could go during the break time. I would go to the school ground and I would start to sing, opening that page. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to give you an exclusive. So this is what I would do. I would go around the ground saying, Hallelujah. So people started to know, I became popular as Mr. Hallelujah because of that. Hey. Even from I was still in third grade, the senior said, hey, this young man, this young guy, oh, Mr. Hallelujah, and I became popular. So when I then came I was now at Karoi Junior School now. I was coming from that background whereby I knew that I was not popular from where I was coming from. So my question was what can I do now for me to become relevant? Now I'm now at this new school. Remember, I said born and then made. And I remember that during that time, one of the key things that I said to understand is when you're a leader, you're someone who initiates. You're someone who comes out from the background. You think of an idea and you bring everyone together. If you can do this. And at a boarding school, most of the time, if you're boys, if you're staying at the boys' hostel, that, most of the games that you're doing to the weekend is usually soccer, playing soccer, all those things, for leisure time. But now in Zimbabwe, usually third term is for music and all those things. I was part of the choir, of the choir. So after the choirs, I then said I was so inspired by the conductor, right? The conductor. I was so inspired, and I said I'm going to also to learn how to do that, because the conductor is the leader of the choir. You're leading the choir, you're leading everyone. So what I did was when I was now, because I said during the weekends, what we knew we could do is only playing soccer. And I said, guys, but we can also do music. Do you know that? I said, that's lame. We can do music for the first time. Boys, I mean boys, not girls, boys. We organized choirs. I organized choir competition at grade 5. Choir competitions for boys for the first time.
Wow.
It's for the first time.
Wow.
And I remember that when we started, people were laughing, oh, you guys, yeah. But I remember the last day we could group the competition. They're going to have rounds, first round, the choir that goes to the next round. This was a grade 5 child. That. And I remember when we did the last round, even the matrons came to attend the boys' choir competition.
Wow.
That's what? Wow. And I think for me, that was what? At this age, for me, that was like a confirmation. You know what? You know what? You are not ordinary. You're not ordinary. At grade 5, you're not ordinary. So for me, it then also through those journeys, when I was in my primary school, it then cemented a lot of things that makes us between coming from that. Yes, maybe God bless you with a certain leadership gift, but there's you need an environment to become that. So there are people that can born as leaders and they can die as leaders, born and die. But there's a process whereby you're born and you become mad. You become and then you die and then you die. Those are 3 stages. You're born a leader, you become, and then eventually die as a leader. But a lot of times people can yes, they are born leaders and they will miss that part of manifesting and becoming the leader. So for me, I'm so grateful that at an age I was able to becoming the leader, and through putting myself in situations whereby that aspect is now coming into that gift is now coming into action. Yeah, so maybe that's why I can be able to really define and so tie it to where I was coming from, and where I was coming from, and how I then realized that aspect of me at a young age.
Wow, Chris, that's such a loaded story. Thank you for sharing that. I think before we continue with, I have loads of questions for you, by the way. Before we continue with the questions, let me just pick your brain a little bit. You talked about how you found yourself in these situations where the leadership that you were born with just shined through. So my question to you is, what do you have to say to somebody who probably when they were in primary school, they were the group leader, they led things, and then somehow life dimmed their light and they're not sure whether they're a leader anymore, or someone might think that I think that I was born a leader, but I don't know how to become one. So what sort of, I know I'm diverting a little bit from our
Okay,
conversation,
it's okay,
but I want to pick your brain a little bit on that, because when we're having this conversation, there's someone that is watching us, who's keen to learn, who's keen to understand. Someone might be looking at you and saying, Chris, when I was in primary school, I had the fire within me. I did things, but somewhere along the line, something happened. I'm not sure. Or someone is saying, I don't know if I was born a leader or not, but I want to become a leader. Chris, how do I become a leader? What would you say to that person?
Okay, and thank you so much for the question. Amazing. So, my first advice is now, a lot of times when we are leaders, there are times where we are waiting for the opportunity to be given. Let's say maybe you are given you're not a prefect. Let's say you're given a time, right? You're given, you are given, right? But that's a different level. That's also a certain dimension that someone can become. But there's also, I think, I'll call it a higher dimension of manifesting leadership, whereby I can pioneer certain things without anyone coming. I create my own table. I create my own table, which even if people will not validate me, because I've created it, I've pioneered it. So these are two different people here. Someone who's waiting, okay, we have nominated you to be in this position. We have nominated in this position. And that's how someone is saying, I'm not going to wait to be nominated by anyone. I'm not going to be wait to be elected by anyone, but I'm going to pioneer and initiate things myself. These two people might seem kind of the same people, but these are different. But now, when I initiate something, let's say Petrolena, you initiate a platform, you have got power and control over it. And something that is so interesting about that, I'm encouraging people to really discover that route. And don't wait for someone to tell you to give you a chair or a table for you to sit. But rather creating a table for people to come and sit. And now the good thing about that spectrum that I'm talking about is leadership and creativity goes hand in hand, and innovation goes hand in hand. If I'm invited to a place where I need people's validation for me to get to be a leader, the danger is most of the times I'm going to operate according to their frequency. And whenever you are going to want to operate their frequency, there's going to be disappointment. A lot of disappointments, discouragements, because you're working in a system that they've created. You're just being brought into their system. The only way for you to survive is to adjust in their system. The way for you to survive is for you just to work within their framework. But when I initiate something, right, people are coming into my ecosystem, where I'm the king, where I'm the queen. I determine the frequency of how things work. If I say today I'm going to operate in this way, no one will question me. Why are you doing that? It's my ecosystem. So a lot of times I've also been there, those places whereby, because you feel like you're choked, you feel like your life is being dimmed. But sometimes you then look at this, is their system, is their thing. Even if you want to put changes, a lot of people were discouraged who were born leaders, were discouraged because when they wanted to introduce changes, they will say, no, we don't do that here. We don't do that here. And they were discouraged and they went back. Most of them, but it is their system. It is their system. So what I can encourage is in your journey of rediscovering yourself, take a step back and say, okay, I'm born a leader. And especially if you are born a leader, if there's certain you have all things on take, everything is the palm. Sometimes we don't want to really discover ourselves. It's there. Do you know sometimes some of the great treasures are not hidden underneath Some of the things that you're looking for are around there, are there. You can see them. You can see them. You can see them. Someone told me like that, you talk a lot, you speak, you're talkative, you speak a lot. And sometimes I would feel like, oh, okay, is it an insult or something like that? But I said, okay, but I can use that, right, to change you. It's something that is already with me, right? Someone said, oh, you know what, in this Zungu. You can say, for me, I call it confidence. It's just confidence. It's for me, it's confidence. You can use it, that same confidence, to be able to impact people. But a lot of people sometimes they're so used to their comfort zone, they don't want to move. You know what? If you push, but we're looking for people that they say, I have it, even though I have it inside of me. Wow. I was reading a post. I was reading a post that was saying, the world does not acknowledge people that are only gifted or talented. The world also acknowledges people that make themselves avail themselves and become different. If we go through history, you're going to see people that we remember are people who created a table and who made changes. Not people who just went into a system. People that say, oh, this one invented this one did this. You see that these people, maybe when they thought of those things, if they were going to implement those things, let's say in a certain establishment, they're not going to do anything. But the day they said, okay, I'm tired of this, I'm going to do this now. That's when things change. So then maybe that was what I can say to someone who's out there who's that, if you tried to just sit back and look inside of you and say, man, sometimes you look at your man and say, you know what, you are great. You know what, you are great. You are great. You know you are great. Yeah.
Wow, Chris, thank you so much. You guys heard it from Chris, y'all. Find your own path and walk it very well. My favorite saying says that goes something like, the world will step aside and let anyone pass who knows where they are going. So as long as you know what it is that you want and wherever it is that you want to go, nothing can stand in your way. I always tell my friends that don't ever make the mistake of standing between me and my dream. I will literally bulldoze you to the ground, because once I decide that I'm going out after something, I'll just feel and step back. You can't stop me. So thank you, Chris, for sharing that. Now let's come back to your story after this little detour. So tell us then about walk us through your journey, like high school. We have gone to Karoi boarding school and all that. Talk us through high school and then going to university. How was that journey like?
Now, so for primary school, as I said, I was at Karoi Junior School until grade 7, my 7th grade, and then so during my 7th grade, that's when that was the period whereby there was economic recession all over. And so I really wanted to go to those big boarding schools. I really wanted to go there. I really wanted to go those places whereby I really loved to go to MHS school, because I knew that MHS schools there were stories like MHS schools people, the opportunities. But now the situation was different. I had to go to another boarding school in Karoi Chikangwe High School. It was a boarding school, but it was a council school in Karoi. That was the option that was there, and I went there. And from this so interesting. When I was in Form 1 now, so because it was not a mission school, it was like a council school, like a Karoi town council school, but it was a boarding school, and the only boarding school in Urungwe at that time. In Urungwe, I think it's still the only boarding school actually in Urungwe. From Karoi there until even I think Kariba, if I'm mistaken. But by that time, it was like, the high school, the only high school that is going to be a school in that region. So there was little pressure about that, going there. But, it was a school that was in the ghetto. It was a boarding school that was still in the ghetto. That's how interesting that school is. It's a boarding school, but it's in the ghetto. So in my Form 1, as I said, it was a school. So during Sundays, would go to church, like scripture union. We go to scripture union, we go there. And now that music, I think music has been really a force in how I really discover. I really became continue to discover myself as someone who can be able to lead other people. So in form one, you know what, I brought in some young people, you know, guys, you need to create an a cappella boys group, you know, whereby we see form one. That was in form one. And we began to do that, to be singing, you know, those things, leading other group of boys. But now this was something that was traumatic, bad, but now if I look at it, it was good. Because of the exposure that I had, there was one thing that every time that really kind of that time really affected me somehow. Some the people of my age, right? They could not really understand, because sometimes when I spoke, even some things that I used to speak, they would look like maybe I'm someone who's beyond my age in terms of what I was saying. We can do this, especially people in my age. That time at Form 1, you are doing those things, you're exploring all those things. But for me, it was a bit different. And sometimes I feel like, is it bad thing or wrong? Or is it something that's bad? I remember one time someone approached me and said, you know, that you always want to advise people. Who are you? Are you a father to us? I was in Form 1. But I don't know what was happening, because every time, and I'm sure to know why that happened. Every time when I sit with someone, I feel compelled to have a conversation. We can say, oh, but our conversation needs to lead somewhere. Okay, but what are we doing? You know, but you can still do, you can still do something. You know, we go into deep conversations. Each and every, I don't know if it's wrong. I don't know if it's I think anti whatever. I don't know, anti social. I don't know. But I still feel if we sit in a room where after some time, yes, we still have to encourage each other in becoming better versions of ourselves. So essentially, when I was in Form 1, and it's so awkward. Form 1, because some people will say, you know what, this guy wants to be just, the big, we're young, but all those things. And when I was in Form 2, I was then nominated to be a hostel prefect. That's when things started to start. That's when I can say now, because you're now with adults, like you're growing up. That's now when things started to really defined. So at Form 2, I'm now a hostel prefect, and in that journey, as a young leader, there was always one thing that revolved. The way you want to lead, you will fail. You will fail. People would literally curse because sometimes you're giving somebody a punishment, or you fail. That was in Form 2. And then as I was growing, as I was moving in those stages, I remember in Form 3, when I was then elected as a prefect now, from hostel prefect to a prefect now, junior prefect. So this was so we had a group of people that came. They were like lower A levels when they come, lower 6, they go to lower 6, Form 5s. They come in. Whilst we are now already in the school term. A lot of the guys, they thought I was not. They thought maybe I'm Form 6. I'm Form 6. You're not Form 3. I'm Form 3. They thought I was Form 6 because the way you project yourself is not like a Form 3 child. So all these things were coming, and sometimes I was questioning myself and to say, it is interesting. Why? What are these people saying? And at that time, even up to now, I don't have a big, like a huge board, like, I'm a tiny little bit, kind of. So is it because maybe voice not my voice? Is it because not my body? But what are these people seeing at someone who's in Form 3? Okay, they say the way you project yourself is someone who is way older. But I didn't know. Now when I look at it now, it was that evolution of my journey as a leader now. Come Form 4 as a prefect, as a leader. I had to go back. I was asked the question, do you want to go to church at the school? And I said, no. I want to go back to my former school. And I want to tell you, there are a lot of memories there that I will still say. I think my high school years, if I compare my high school and my university, high school, it was so loaded because there were mistakes that were done, a lot of mistakes. At times, I remember when you're a leader, and a lot of times when you're a leader, hey, when it's Zuma prefects, you'll be labeled, you're labeled, all those things. And sometimes some of the ways that you are told in that process, they also kind of discourage. And sometimes you want to go back to your cave, right? But the following day you still come back. That's just part of it. So when I was in Form 4, when I was done with Form 4, I passed, and I said I want to go back. I remember that the day I went back, so it was on a Sunday. I went back. If you see the heroes woke up, It was like a heroes woke up. I will never forget that day. I will never forget that day because I came in. People were in church service, and I came in from the back, and they want to stop what they were doing. And it was the clap. And for me, it was the applaud was of. I started looking at it even up to now. It was like highlight of, man, you really did great in the 4 years, and these people are really inspired, and we also doing well in your academics. People are like, wow. Hey, stood up. I think it was about 3 minutes, 5 minutes. People could not stop clapping. So for me, it was like, okay, wow. It was, you've seen a movie scene whereby, all these people, it was really emotional for me at that point of time. But it really signaled a situation whereby I looked at myself and said, you are doing something great. When people see that your peers, they're young as you, and they see it's good to have you back. Now in Form 5, in 4-5 now, you're not mature. So I then chose, I was doing arts, like I was doing history, I was doing divinity and geography. That was my combination that I was doing then. And the reason why I wanted to do accounting. It was kind of cool that, this person is doing accounting. I passed accounts actually, but end of the day, I just feel, where am I strength? I'm someone I'm a people person. I'm a people person. And it's something that I can also, I know a lot of times there's that dilemma, especially in Zimbabwe, when if a child goes to A level now, career the path that they're going to take. A lot of times, I was in the science classes. That's the most. I was in the science classes. I passed my sciences, passed my commercials, but I feel like if I go to A level and do sciences, yes, there's a certain whether a lab code. It's good. It's good to the eyes. Good. There's prestige in that. But I don't feel it. If I go to commercials, maybe wearing those Frankos, those Franco big accounting books, in a calculator. Yes, it sounds good. But I feel like that was not me. Yeah. And then I chose that. And there was a kind of a ridicule when you're doing arts, or would all ask people, And the funny thing, our school, the arts, the lower 6 art class was situated at a culture hut. That's our class. That's where we are. So it was, hey, Team Roksaka, But when I recall those 2 years, and I love the history so much. That was one of my best subjects. And I'm so thankful of my teachers then. There was Mr. Chivaura, Mr. Chalamanda, those guys, Mr. Mabwe, those guys were so important in that journey, because it is when I was studying those things, then I began to really appreciate. But in those things, you then learn a lot of leaders, people that have done great things in terms of statehood, in terms of international organization. They did things. That's when I started to really appreciate those things. Especially when A level, now it was like, okay, we're learning about these big people that we heard about. And I really love Miss Chivaura, who is one who taught me, is the way he could really. Hey, you are like in a movie. Hey, it really made me to really say, okay, this is interesting. And At a young age now, at a young age, at that age, I was someone who would literally watch news. I would watch that because I said, I saw this in class. We're doing this. I don't want to do this again. I don't want to experience this in the contemporary, in the contextual way. So at A level, I was then later on in the year of my Form 5, I was then nominated as vice head board.
Wow.
Now, I didn't have a big body. And literally, I don't know if they were saying the truth. They're saying, hey, we wanted to elect you head board. But because of your body now, your body now, will you be able to say, hey? But what was funny about me was, I don't know. Even when I had that small body, whenever I stood to say to exert my authority, people could respond. I don't know why. Was it the voice? The people that also the deep voice. No, I even up to now, I won't say it was because of the voice, but it was about what when you become a leader, you're then packaged with certain attributes that will help you to execute leadership, no matter how big, no matter how small. So I would never say, I'll never subscribe to a notion, for it to really to be, no, because I'm a testimony that I could stand in the dining hall and I would say, everyone quiet, and everyone would keep quiet because I said so, because of the authority that I have and how I exert it. So no matter how your body is made, a leader doesn't know because you've got a deep voice or because no. Leadership is beyond way that. It's beyond way that.
Leadership is leadership.
It's leadership. Let's not talk about because your body, no. It's something that comes with thee. What you carry.
Wow.
But now,
yeah. No, I'm saying this is turning into a leadership seminar. I'm liking it. We're talking about your life, but we're also in a leadership seminar. I feel like I should take my notebook and take notes. Chris, you are spitting facts. Thank you so much. I think while also like we're concluding that part of high school and stuff like that, who did you want to become? Like growing up, what did you say I want to become? Like what were your dreams? Who were your role models? And how did that shape the path you took at university? Now that we were done with high school.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, a lot of times when you're growing up, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a pilot, you want to do all those things. I told you I was watching news at a young age, watching that. And when I saw those statements, by the time it was President Robert Mugabe, you'd see wearing those state head of state, those accolades, I'm telling you, I saw myself, I said, I'm not saying anything, but I said, that's what I saw. I was seeing back there. And I said to myself, I could imagine in myself. One thing that I like about is I imagine things in them. I picture myself saying, how does it look when I'm sitting there, when I'm in that motorcade, when I'm giving a speech, and when I speak, and even the way I use my gestures, I saw that how they do when they're expressing a point, how they use their hand. So every time when I speak, I don't know how to do this. I can't speak like this. I can't. I always use my gesture to really express my point. So when I was growing up, I was seeing those people, presidents. I could literally say, I could name 5 presidents across like Southern Africa. This at that age. So I think for me, it really shaped even when I was done with my university to go when I was going to university now. I was running away from it. I then chose to do politics in public management at MSU. And I know that my parents were saying, hey, they're like, hey, they really? Yes. Political science. That was something. That was really a conversation. But I know one thing that they support whatever. One thing that I think a great family that support what I want to do. Because some people will say, no, we cannot do those things. With job market, it's true, yeah, all those things. But they were also okay, political science, politics. Okay. So what do you want to do when you're done? That's always the question. That question. You are doing politics. You are doing this. And obviously, the answer of I'm doing politics because I don't know, but this is what I enjoy to do. I enjoy doing this. So I chose politics in public management that I was doing at MSU. And now you're now in the big leagues now, because now you're now seeing this in reality now. But one thing that everyone asks me about, why you are doing this politics, you want to become active in politics. There's one thing that I always tell myself, that when I looked in our age, I was also learning in school now, I would say that there's something wrong with the body politic and how people perceive politics. Because the only thing, politics is a dirty game. Hey, I think that was also the fear that also maybe family behaving. If you get into this, because if you get into this, maybe this will affect, this will maybe put you in danger, all those things. And it's also affects, right? Because maybe you have stories about those things. But my point was okay, if let's say I'm going to get into active politics with what I'm doing right now, I want to redefine politics. What, for me, if you ask me, there's the definition of politics that we're taught. But if you're going to ask me about politics, for me, it's always public service and being there and raising people and representing people. That's why every time people, if you see my endorsement, it's ambassador. A lot of people, and that name, I tried to call myself ambassador when I was in Form 1. So a lot of people, they told me my first name is ambassador. That's my first name. Wow. And I made it a must that everyone who I would say ambassador. So everyone would meet me ambassador to the extent that even people in the neighborhood, would call me ambassador. At one time I laughed in my neighborhood, back in Zimbabwe, small kids. Ambassador, how are you, ambassador? Small kids. They don't know what it means to be called an ambassador, right? Back at home, my aunties, they are old now. They're old. They go, ambassador, Makadi, ambassador. Because one thing, the reason why I made sure that they need to know those, even here in the US, they call me ambassador. The reason why I made sure in each and every place that I go to, both names are important, are powerful in redefining who you are. So whenever I feel discouraged, I'll remember there's an old lady who called me Ambassador Chris. How are you today? Wow. There's a young boy who doesn't even know the meaning of that word, who said Ambassador Murishei. So every time that in my journey, I took the program, all those things, was saying an ambassador represents. That is we can talk about represents with honesty and integrity, no matter what.
Chris, when someone listens to you and they're hearing you talk about being ambassador and having these big aspirations, they might be the temptation, albeit unintentionally, of assuming that surviving and functioning with dreams is easy. You know, kuti Chris zvakamurerukira kuti akangoziva unoda kuzodai so, and he's just sailed through. How has it been like functioning with living with such big dreams and big aspirations in a society that can sometimes be dismissive? People can be harsh. People can say, like, life is not that ideal. So we don't want, someone might look at you and think, Chris, limit what he says. How has it always been like for you navigating big dreams? How do you stay positive? How do you remain centered on the goal with discouragement, with challenges, with criticism? How do you stay focused on the goal? What keeps you grounded? What sailed you through, even when you're doing something that your parents were supportive of but didn't quite understand? How did you hold on to a dream or a path that only made sense to you? How do you do that?
Wow. Yeah. And I thank you for bringing that, because like what you said, people might think, oh, this has been like, it was like, okay. And I will tell you that there are times I'm someone, and I will say this to your audience so that people understand. I'm someone who's passionate to the extent that if I feel discouraged, in as much it is not mainly I cry. I've cried a lot because of the burden of the dreams. Sometimes it was not even people. Sometimes I'll look at myself and say, how come you? Are you really serious? Because you're looking at where you are and you're looking at what you think you can achieve. So I've gone through places whereby at times it was not even people, but sometimes even situations that I'm in, seasons that I went through. And I'll explain one season that was very, 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 very significant, Pete. So before I came to the United States, when I graduated, let me speak from this. I think it will really help people to really understand where I'm coming from. When I graduated in 2019, I graduated with my bachelor's honors in politics and public management. Whoa, I've done. But I thought, yes, you think maybe you're going to get a job or you know, and I could not get a job. I tried to do things. The only thing that I would do, I have these big dreams, but the degree that I went to is not working. The thing that paid me to survive, just to survive those years, was I was designing flyers, posters. But when people saw me out there, they'll see you. This guy is big, but the only thing that I was doing that would make me sane was doing designing with online things. But that was the issue. To an extent whereby I reached out to a friend, and I'm going to mention him, Mr. Macha. He had a college, and I went to him and I said, I'm so discouraged, man. I don't have a job. I don't have anything. Just give me something to do. I know how to teach. History. I know that I can sleep. I know how to teach. But I remember when I went to him, I was so, and if he still remembers, if he's going to watch this, I literally cried. I feel like I'm letting down my family. I said to question myself, why? Maybe I was supposed to do sciences. I was supposed to, if they've loved those sciences and they've done, maybe I was supposed to be an engineer, but maybe I was supposed to have done engineering. Or maybe I questioned that decision. I'm done. Each and every day, I feel like I know my family was supporting me, and but I feel like maybe I'm letting them down. I remember at some time I thought even my young brother is not even proud for him to call this my older brother. That was me, not that was me thinking like that. I feel like these guys, maybe because they are my family, maybe they're not, you cannot, I feel like I was letting them down because I feel like I graduated. I'm supposed to be doing things at home. I'm supposed to bring money. I'm supposed to do, this time I'm supposed to be the big name. I don't like. So for 2 years before I got an opportunity to come to the US, I was teaching. Wow. I was teaching. And when I was teaching these young kids, they were like, I was teaching from Form 1 to Form 4. They were coming from different backgrounds also. But when I was teaching them, I not took it as a side gig or I just want to survive. My big dreams were still there. But when I was teaching them, Perry, God knows I went all in. Because for me, it became more than just teaching them. I say to myself, I will not get the job that I want, but I'm going to dedicate my strength that these kids will be empowered to know that they are bigger than what they can be. So I didn't have I could travel. No, this is one thing now. I would come from home. I would walk with my suit, and I would go to work on foot. So like about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to go to work. I'll go there. I try to teach them. And when I teach them, my lessons will always end. Yes, this is syllabus, right? But my each and every time my lessons will end up with life talk. Because I knew most of them, maybe if you told them about university, they don't know about the university. Because some of them, they all want to pass Form 4 and they will go to the mines. The area was the mining area. If you tell them you can go to college, you can go to this, they did it. For them, it was a far-fetched dream. So in class, after we are done with our, say, okay, let me tell you about something. That was my teaching model. I'm teaching them the syllabus, but we will reinforce the syllabus with purpose. With purpose. So those 2 years, I taught my first class, first Form 4 class. That was the first time teaching a Form 4 that we went to write an examination. I didn't go to teach. I didn't go there. They passed very well, and they went out. But the last class that I then taught before I came to the US now, that class, I will never forget that class. I was teaching history and English, and I was not even confident, to be honest. There were a group of low average students, but I remember that we could do all night teaching them and also speaking live. And when the opportunity came, they didn't even know that this was going to happen. They didn't even know. I'm done with my class, and then the day that I then went to do a farewell, only my boss knew that this was happening. I'm moving on. After I'm going to school. So when I told them that I'll be leaving, they were sure, but for them telling them I'm going, Mr. will be going to New York City in America it was like a long stretch, because in my life, being an ambassador, being with the big dreams, I don't have, and in my passport, but the passport that I have was stamped when I was going to the US. I've never been to South Africa. I've never been to Zambia or to Mozambique for 20 something plus years. So for them it was so from here, God, from Kadoma.
What happened, Chris? Tell us the story. Now we are curious. How do we? America, kana America ichipa visa inotarisa zvinhu tu. Inotarisa kuti travel history. Unerimwe visa rawakambopiwa here, and they also look at your tax in the country. Are you married? Do you have a house? So chakaitika inyasha rudzi, Chris. What happened? Now we want to know how did this boy move from Hurungwe Karoi to New York?
I'm telling you. So what I missed was from Urungwe Karoi, we then my dad was promoted to go to Kadoma. To go. So for when I was, it was from Kadoma Rimuka to the US. So what happened is, I got my cousin. They said, "Hey, Sekuru, there's an opportunity for you to go and study in the US." And when she told me that, I said, nah, the US is too much. No. Personally, I was teaching my kids. I think I was now close to be a principal. I was not close to be a principal. I was enjoying what I was doing. And I said, I think that's no, yeah, you can try. I said, no, try, no. For me, it was a fast-paced, so fast-paced. I'm telling you. So when I said the process of doing the applications, I was so disconnected from the whole process. So disconnected. I said, nah, we're just going to try. I don't want to put more effort, but I know sometimes you put effort, maybe you'll be visa rejected. Then wow, then maybe your hopes are so high, and then I did it. I didn't see that coming. But now it's we're doing the process. I applied for the school. I wrote my statement and my CV, all those things, and they replied to me and they said, with your contributions to the community, what you've done, I've done a lot of things, we feel that you'll be a great fit. You'll be a great fit to our community. That was a wake up. So this guy, they don't even know me. I'm in Rimuka there, a guy from Urungwe in Kadoma, and they're saying that they're saying with what you've seen, with what your accomplishment so far, what I was doing community work, whatever those things. We feel that you'll be a great fit to their community. For me, that was okay. I think this going somewhere now. And I remember when I went to the visa interview. Now, this was I will remember this. I was you go internet, those preps. Hey, so what am I going to ask? And you ask me, hey, am I going to and the previous night I prepared a two-page document of questions. Maybe they'll ask this, I'll answer this, I'll answer this. I prepared a two-page document. So, but when I went there, one thing that I said I was going to tell my story, right? This is where I'm coming from, this is where I'm going. So when I was being those queues, I mean, when you get in that embassy, it's like you're in Washington DC. Once you're in Zimbabwe, everything is just yeah. And when I was now there, I prepared my question. I asked 10 questions, 12 questions. I'm prepared. I'll answer this. And now this is the miracle. And I will say it's a miracle, and I'm grateful to God. And this was all God. So they'll be like in a bank whereby they go in different interview, like the US don't go in the state office. You go, everyone know that there's something happened. Over the counter, everyone know, hey, something happened there, something happened there. So yeah, go. So when I was the person who was in front of me, so the consular who was there was asking a lot of questions. I said, hey. So now, as I was about to go, and people they know that because they will ask questions, And hey, what's going to happen? So when I was about to go, another counter opened. And that counter said, I can start with you. She was a lady. Okay. People was like going there. Okay, so how are you? Smiling. Okay, can I have your details? So tell me. She asked me only 4 questions.
Wow.
Only 4. Where are you going? I'm going there. Okay, oh wow. Have you applied to the school? Yes, I've applied to the schools. I applied to the schools. The schools, okay. And then she said, okay, thank you. She was like in a hurry. I was like, in a hurry, like, what is that? And she said, come on Friday, you pick your passport. That's when I said myself, I even asked the secretary, I said, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, go, you come back and pick your passport on Friday. You know what, when I went out of the embassy, I cried and I said, after 5 years, if you're going to ask me that I was going to be in the United States, I was going to say, you lie. Because in as much as I had big dreams, I didn't know. And funny thing, I then said, so when I felt compelled to call myself ambassador, what did it mean? When I was in Form 1. And someone told me, you know what? You call yourself an ambassador. How can an ambassador not know how to get into a plane? And I remember, yeah.
No, I wanted to say there's one of my favorite sayings say that if your body can't be there physically, send your imagination. So it's.
I'm telling you, I remember when do you know? And I'm telling you this, and you might laugh. Do you know when I went to the airport, the Robert Mugabe airport? I've never went there even to escort someone to go to a plane. I've never done it. It was my first time going to Robert Mugabe airport. And the passport that I was having, was I took the passport that year. The first passport expired without even me going to Zambia or any. I was that moving around in Zimbabwe. It expired. I was to take another passport. Another passport. So, and the first thing that is on that passport was a US. And when I went there, this is my first time to be in the airport. Robert Mugabe airport. For the first time. Oh, this is what we see on pictures. After 27 years. And me getting the plane was good. Hey, so this is the plane. I'm telling you, this is the plane. This is me. And one of my nephews said to me, he said to me, you might think that you're going to America just to maybe you're going to get your education. But he said, America is waiting for you. That's what he said to me when we were now farewell. He said, Sekoro, you might think that maybe you want to go and but you never know. What I'm telling you is America is waiting for you. There are people waiting for you. Until you put that now, after 2 years that I've been here in my second year here. Some people ask me, you've been in America for 1 year. What you've done? People they'll start to adjust after a year.
Mm.
What we've accomplished in the US
Mm.
is people, they spend years to do those things.
Chris, wow. I think you are setting us up now to talk about your life in the US. I just had to say this. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a motivator at heart, and I thank you so much for sharing that story. That it's the dream was there, but you taught for 2 years. Because I think there is this tendency that when things don't happen the way we want them or according to the timeline that we're expecting them, we just throw in the towel and we just give up. And
Yeah.
and I know, Kuti, someone listening was really motivated. Because there was no way. Papa sina kana ma connections, kana
Yeah.
sekuru vari America, kana ana admissions committee. And when you were then in Kadoma, it didn't seem like dragon of Gitika.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
somehow it happened. And that, come on, somebody, you ought to be inspired.
Yeah.
You don't even have to see, just believe that it can happen and
Yeah.
work on yourself
Yeah.
while you're waiting. The
Yeah.
path will show up when it's the right time.
Yeah.
Chris, that is so phenomenal. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. And I think on the back of your life in the US now, you said something about your application being approved because of what you've done with the community.
Yeah.
So I mentioned some of the things that you do in the introduction. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more now about the things that Chris did that got him to the US and
Yeah.
the things that he does now, the work that you do now. What have you been doing for the past year in the US?
So one of the things that I when I arrived in Kadoma, it was in 2015 when my dad was promoted to work in Kadoma, so we had to move. So one of the things when I was doing my internship, I started a music group. I think it was about to happen, a group by the grace of God. That is a group, and it brought in young people. I was the CEO. I'm still the CEO of that group actually. And this year it's seventh year in existence. I'm no longer there, but they're still moving now. So in my application, this is something that I highlighted. Those youth groups, just volunteering, going there, you are volunteering there, you are doing those things, and for them it really stood out. Like, this person is so passionate, and compared to, and I said to myself, I don't want to be someone who goes to school, even though I didn't have a job. I said to myself, even though I'm teaching, I want to be able to live what I've been learning. And my program is connected to the community, right? So I had to make sure that I'm creating my own platform. I'm creating my own platform, even in Unleash Network. It started like that. Okay, it started like that. That's how even it started. It was during COVID online. It was formerly called Visionaries Hub, where I would bring people that are young visionaries that are coming with ideas. They will tell us their challenges. They will tell us their agenda. And what's that? And people were so locked in. People lock in. People inspired. And for me, it really defined a lot of things. So when I was not here now. I came in January 2024, 13. And you know what? You're in a new place. You ask yourself, so why? I was starting all over. The US is a big country. You are just pumping. You are just confused. But now, look at this. Look what happened now. Listen to myself. I'm here, yes, to get a higher degree, yes. But one thing that I'm also here to, I have another degree that I have. So what I'm going to do this time around, I'm going to change the narrative this time around. I want to be able to live and to create something that is new at this place. So in February, I'm now in the years. There was a vacancy at our graduate student association, and the way I'm someone who looks at my email like my WhatsApp. When I check my email, my email is like, oh, you check your email after. No. I check my email. What's happening? That's what I do. Mm-hmm. So I saw this. They were looking for someone to serve as an elections chairperson, commission chairperson. Mm-hmm. I only 3 weeks in the position. I said, back in Zimbabwe, I was once an observer of elections, and my dissertation for my undergrad was on elections. I said, how this cannot be difficult. Let me go for this, and I applied. I said, I'll apply. I didn't know that was going to be a gateway of something. I then applied for that, and then I saw an email coming for an interview. So when I was doing the interview with the president of the Graduate Association, explain what I've done with the elections, all those things. He said, "Oh, we'll give you an update in the next in the next 3 days. We'll give an update of what all those things. Is this in February? Okay, it's okay. No problem. It's fine." And then the news came. Congratulations, you got the position. Hey, that's a few weeks. So now I'm going to do something that I can benefit people. I don't really understand this. So I got the position. I said, what? So one thing that I always do is I celebrate each and every win that I get, each and every accomplishment. I'm not someone who I wait until I get a big one. Every network, if I meet today, I will say today I was with today. I will post it. I was so honored to meet you. I don't belittle any networking. I don't believe. So it was a small position, or you're just a committee member. But I said, no, I'm going to amplify this. Look what happened. So I was working with Zimbabwe Council of Churches back at home. We're doing some works, community work, all those things. And I told my guy, you know what? He just feels I got this position. He said, Chris, give me. I want to write an article about this. And he wrote an article. So that article now, he had a headline. This takes top spot at like position at event hour. Big top position, and it went viral. Like, hey, this guy is it's a small position, but this it depends. How do you view it? For me, it was a good. I just came in 3 weeks. To this guy, it's a small position, but for me, I'm just a teacher who's coming from Remuka Kadoma. Being said, we want you to conduct our election of the whole graduate school, of the whole graduate. Someone just came in less than 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We are trusting you with this. For me, that was the beginning of saying now it's time to be unleashed. I'm telling you, after that position, I remember I connected the election. I got the election. It was done good. After that, a lot of things started to come. But one thing that I didn't learn in the US now is the power of connecting and networking. And I always tell people this time that if in Zimbabwe, maybe you don't see that is important, but in this part of the world, what makes you, I always tell myself, we are not introverts. We are not introverts. We are not. We have never been. We are not introverts. Yeah, it's good to be that. It's good to, but I said, if you got my space, we are going to push you to the limit. Mm-hmm. Because I said myself, this land, I need to study that this land. You know what? You might have a good degree, maybe straight A's, but if you don't know someone, you run around with that PhD or that master's degree or bachelor's degree. Mm-hmm. This type of place that we are in needs you to be able to say, greet, how are you? And also, it's all things that I was told to even international students. And they're coming in that, don't be in your room watching movies, Netflix, from noon to tomorrow, and then you go to school class and you're sitting at the back of the class like this. This African kid. Everyone say this African. Everyone knows that this is from Africa. I had myself when I went to my first class page. I said I'm going to sit at the front. I don't sit at the back. I will never do that. I'll sit at the front, no matter if the class is so difficult. I'll sit at the front. It made the professor know about me more. Oh, Chris, tell us. And every time I ask them questions. Because in Zimbabwe, in Africa, this is happening. So they will love those analysis, those arguments. Okay, what do you get that perspective of where you're coming from? But now, the funny thing now, in one of my classes, I did a presentation. It was my first presentation, and I recorded. I told my professor, professor, this is my first presentation in America. First class presentation. I want it to be filmed. And she said, no worries, Chris, I will film it for you. She used their phone, and I don't like to. In that presentation, even my class said, "Hey, you! How do you come with that?" They enjoy. Actually, they say one thing about you. We enjoy your presentation because you've been charged. I was someone asked me, you need to be a lecturer. You need to think about that because the way you speak when you're teaching is something that is a concept, but the way you present it. You'll be enjoying it. Oh, wow. Okay. So for me, it was a highlight of me now saying, I'm taking over. Yes, I'm from Remuka Kadoma. And people know, and I was people, me, I don't even have any money. These are scholarships and all of those things. I don't have any. I'm just the guy from Kadoma. I was talking about that. I'm from Zimbabwe. If you see my post, there's always a Zimbabwean flag there. If we flag and the American flag, I always do that for a reason. That I wanted you to know that this guy came from my parents. We don't even have mansion.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have. They are teachers. My father is the headmaster. My is the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I don't have to be a child of a minister, right? Or of someone big. So people can say this person is doing great. So in America, one of the highlights after the end of the year, that was the biggest highlight was, so one thing I did was also even my LinkedIn. What if people go to my LinkedIn, I'm someone who always, I tailor my profile, I did it myself. I make sure I did myself. And if every time I come to I meet someone, post it there. With your permission, post it there. Today I met this person, today I did this, today I did this. I said to call my life. I said, I'm going to reach someone out there, but I want them when they, even if I die, when they go anywhere, they'll read the book. From they already this guy, and I don't even delete posts where I was in Kadoma, when I was in Karoi or whatever. I don't delete those posts. I want someone to read a book, like it's a book that is they're reading. Wow, this person. So I changed my LinkedIn. So the biggest highlight came now when I was invited to be a keynote speaker at a conference.
Wow.
So in New York we have New York State. Universities, they are state universities. All state universities they fall under what we call SUNY, which is called the State University of New York. There are about 64 universities under the SUNY. So they've got their student assembly, which is like SRC, which are the trustees of all these 64 universities. So this guy saw me on LinkedIn. So what I was doing on LinkedIn, we connected. And one thing that I do is if I inspire someone, I go to you inspire me. I would comment. You're doing the president of the SUNY Assembly. His name is Gio Harvey. Shout out to you, Gio Harvey. He said, you guy, you inspire me a lot. And when that conference was in August, he said, September, he said, I saw a message from his vice president. He said, Chris, we say we've been doing the work with your Unleashed Network, all those things. Would you want to speak to a group of leaders that are coming from these universities? I said, you know what, don't ask me twice. I'm from Garamuka. You give me a platform. And I said, I'll be honored. And I prepared. I was also afraid because my accent is not American accent. I was so stressed. So that conference took place. Leaders coming from different universities, state universities in New York, and the SUNY is the highest body of education institution in America. So I'm speaking here to people that I'm speaking to I've been given a platform to speak to the United States of America. That was me saying, I've given it was once in a lifetime. I'm not going to mess this up. So I did my presentation. And when I was done, the leaders came and said, some people say, in my life, I've seen people speaking, but I have never sit under a presentation like that in my life. They will come and say, you know what, can I have your email? Can I have your email? Because we're going to do another conference. We're going to invite you. I want to invite you because I've never seen something like that. Someone who speaks like that in my life. These are young people from America. We've sat under different professors, big people. And they are telling a kid from Remuka Kadomo, who came from Urumbe Karo in Mali, who has got an African accent. They're saying, you know what? I've never seen someone speak like that.
Wow, Chris, I think that's just testament, that it's possible for everybody. You know what I mean? Like that's awesome. Hey, I think it's testament that it's possible for everybody out there. You know what, Chris? I think we're coming towards the end, and I always say this is the chance where I give somebody an opportunity to be a motivational speaker. I am a motivational speaker at heart. I truly believe in the power of motivation. Like people need discipline, but they also need motivation. One of my favorite psychologists, Dr. Jordan Peterson, says that there are people who have lived their lives and never had anybody say anything positive to them, never had anybody say encouraging words. So towards the end of our conversation, I always put somebody on the spot and say, if you could go back to meet 10-year-old Chris, what would you tell him? And what sort of lessons have you learned from your life, from your journey that you want to leave with us today?
What I would say to that 10-year-old is do not even doubt yourself. You are going to stand in front of millions.
Wow.
You are going to impact generations. You are going to change the narrative. Continue holding on. You're going to experience bumps. You're going to cry. You're going to doubt yourself sometimes. There's going to be anxiety. But I will end with saying, you're a great man and you're an ambassador.
Yeah. Chris, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Any lessons you've learned from your journey you want to leave with us with today?
Lesson that I can end with, which is very important. I think I mentioned there was always have a circle. You have people, you have mentors. You have people that encourage you. This journey needs people. It needs you to be surrounded with people with the same energy frequency that are not intimidated by what you do, by your success, because there are also some circles that when you start to grow, they feel intimidated. I've lost friends because they feel like maybe, oh, this guy is not going too far, right? So surround yourself. One thing is surround yourself with people that feels, they'll say, Chris, go. And you can also tell them, let's move, let's go. So that is the great lesson I would say. Do not, it's good to behave your space, but go out there, network, connect, create relationships, build relationships. You never go wrong. Good relationships, you never go wrong.
Wow. Chris, that's phenomenal. You guys heard it from Chris, y'all. You can't survive as an island. You need people in this life. And Chris, thank you so much for today. I felt like it wasn't just the story of your life, it was also a leadership seminar. And I always say this, y'all, I learned a lot, and I truly hope that you learned a lot as well. Chris' bio will be in the description, so will his LinkedIn and Facebook pages. So if you want to connect with him, get in touch, ask him anything, his information will be there. So Chris, thank you so much for being our guests today. And everybody else, thank you so much for watching our episode. As always on Conversations with the Dreamers, we platform these amazing men and women, these visionaries, and we bring their stories to you in the hope that they inspire you, in the hope that they motivate you. When you see them in the streets, you're seeing Chris the leader, you're seeing Chris the visionary, but we had to go back and hear about Chris the boy from Rimuka. And when we have heard his story, he has shown that you and me that it is possible. So Chris, thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. You are doing great work. Thank you for this platform. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Chris, you're welcome. I think the goal is when people go to your LinkedIn and your Facebook and see Chris the self-made, Chris this person, it's hard for them to relate with that version of Chris.
Yeah.
But if they can hear about Chris, the one who taught in Rimuka, Chris the one who was in Urungwe, they can look at that journey and say, I see myself in that boy's story. So my story can change as well. And that is the reason why Conversations with the Dreamers was created, to platform these stories so that their journeys are close to us and we can see themselves in their stories. So thank you for watching. Keep supporting and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so that each time a new episode goes live, you're the first one to know. Until next time.